So tonight I watched a Criterion film that I bought. I actually have the box because I own it. There we go. All right. So I got this the last time Criterion had a 50% off sale because I hadn't seen it, but I knew I wanted to watch it for this Noirvember because it's from a novel by Dorothy B. Hughes. I really love Dorothy B. Hughes. She wrote In a Lonely Place, which the novel for In a Lonely Place is very, very different than the film. And I love the film, and the film is one of my all-time favorite films, but the novel is just so fucking interesting, and I highly recommend it. And I'm currently reading The Fallen Sparrow, also by Dorothy B. Hughes, which this is a second edition. This is but a first edition mapback. Look at that. From 1942. If you don't know about Dell mapbacks, you should look that up because they're amazing. Anyways, Dorothy B. In The Fallen Sparrow is there's an adaptation of that one starring I just forgot his name. Oh my god. John Garfield and Maureen O'Hara, and it came out the year after this mapback version came out. But anyways, that's Dorothy B. Hughes. Ride the Pink Horse, I don't have a copy of, so I have not read the book yet. But because I love her, I was like, I will watch this. And plus, it's Robert Montgomery, and he also directed in this same year as Ride the Pink Horse, he directed Lady in the Lake, which is one of those, like, you know, love it or hate it, strange pieces of cinema. Ride the Pink Horse is a little more straightforward. It has a screenplay by screenplay by Ben Hecht and Charles Lederer. Look them up. They basically created the screwball comedy, but they also wrote lots of noir together and separately. And it was produced by Joan Harrison. Joan Harrison was one of the great producers and screenwriters of the 30s and 40s and into the 50s. She was fantastic. Another person you should definitely look up. But she also did work on Phantom Lady, Nocturne, several other things. She worked on the screenplay for Rebecca and Saboteur and all kinds of Hitchcock. She's fucking amazing. So, a lot of women behind Ride the Pink Horse. It is notable in that the actor Thomas Gomez became the first Hispanic American to get an Oscar nomination. He did not win. He lost to Edmund Gwynn from Miracle on 34th Street. But notably, 1947, 3 of the 5 best supporting actor nominations were from film noir. You had Thomas Gomez from Ride the Pink Horse, you had Robert Ryan from Crossfire, and you had Richard Widmark in his film debut in Kiss of Death. Kiss of Death, I believe, was also written by Ben Hecht. Everything's connected. And I haven't even talked about the plot yet. What? There's a lot to say. So anyways, this is set in New Mexico, which is, sort of not where your typical noir is set. There's actually an entire book called In Lonely Places about noir that doesn't take place in the city that I do not own, but I really, really would love to. And it's basically a post-war noir where a man comes home and has to right some sort of wrong. And in this case, it's my buddy from the war has been killed and I'm going to figure out why. And or blackmail the people who killed him. So that's what he's doing. But in doing so, he comes across lots of local color, including the Thomas Gomez, a.k.a. Pancho, who owns a carousel. And Pila, Wanda Hendricks, who is a teenager and a Native American who has come to this big town of San Pablo from her small town to hang out during the fiesta. Wanda Hendricks is not a Native American. They do put a little bit of brown makeup on her to make her look darker, but really she doesn't look Native American. She looks just as white as all the other white people. But what's fascinating about the rest of the film, though, is all the other characters that are supposed to be either Mexican or like native New Mexican or Indian or Native American, are all played by, I think they appear to all be played by actual Mexican actors. Thomas Gomez is Mexican. The bartender is played by the bartender is played by Martin Garalaga, who was also Mexican American. He's from California. And the bellhop was played by Tito Ronaldo. So, and when they are speaking Spanish, like when they want to say things that they don't want the white people to understand, they actually speak Spanish, which is always good. It's like, you know, we don't have that as often now as we did back then, where they would have people speaking Spanish and just have them speak Spanish. Now we have, we don't have that. It's starting to come back a little bit where they're doing that. But like we have movies like War Horse where we've got a million different languages spoken and it's all in English with accents. It's just dumb. So this is a very like tense film. A lot happens. There's no dead space pretty much ever. It's all just tension, tension, tension. The camera movements, and particularly at the beginning, are very fluid and the takes are very, very long. He like starts out in one place and then the camera just follows the action and it's like he keeps going and going and going without cutting and it makes it even more tense. Which is also another thing that we don't have in films that often anymore. We're really into the fast cut these days, and I am not a fan. I like long takes. Andrea King plays the femme fatale. She, at one point, watches in glee as someone gets knifed, and instead of showing the person getting knifed, they show her face, and she's just, like, into it, and it's really, really fucked up. So, and then there's some strange shots of the fiesta, and this is just a very out there film. I highly recommend it. It's from Criterion. You can get it from Criterion, this beautiful Criterion edition. I have the DVD, but it's also on Blu-ray if you're a Blu-ray person. Comes with some special features. Not an interview with the ghost of Robert Montgomery, unfortunately. Someday. So this was 1947's Ride the Pink Horse. It's got a lot of women working on it. If you haven't read any novels by Dorothy B. Hughes, you should try to find some because she's great. You can actually get In a Lonely Place from the Femmes Fatales series. Should be on Amazon like right now. You can read it and get into her because she's one of the great crime writers for sure.